Okay, here we go. So we've got our lessons. What did we learn during the week? What were our lessons learnt during the week? And this actually gives me a chance to also plug. I've got a challenge running now, a full-on training session, all of this week for those of you who are following the Smart Notes methodology. I noticed something as a coach that people, and I get it, trust me, I 100% get it. The number of gadgets that I've got here, as I say, could literally open a Best Buy with mine. The emphasis on the tools of Zettelkasten and get people, and in particularly, not pointing anybody out, high fact finders, really gets people excited about the tools and about the way, the Dewey Decimal System of it, how do I topics and everything like that. Whereas the real thing that's getting things going is all about actually creating these incredible notes and getting people thinking about them. So we have a methodology called a TT challenge, which is today, tomorrow. Very powerful challenge style invented by Dr. Michael Hewitt-Gleason of Check Moves fame. And it's a precursor. He did this way before. You'll recognize elements of it from things like the CFT and Kanban and all that sort of stuff. But he came up with TTs well before the Agile revolution in 2000. And the interesting thing about this challenge is what's the important thing of the Zettelkasten process in taking smart notes is actually doing the smart notes. So we've actually got a bit of a TT challenge going on where at the end of Monday, the end of today for most of you, you just write in how many notes you did today and then how many you plan to do tomorrow. So if you did no notes today because you just heard about it now but you'd like to participate, that's fine. Just put in 0. But then say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do 3 notes and put that in. And then on Tuesday, you do your TT. So today I got 3 notes done and tomorrow I think I'm going to do 3 notes. And there's a thread in the Slack channel for you to do this challenge in the Zettelkasten Slack channel. So that will be a fun little exercise. So, because honestly, the real power of it, and I'm seeing it myself now, it's extraordinary what you remember when you have to put notes into your own words. Like people are missing, people are getting the forest. Sorry, they're examining individual trees and not seeing the forest. The real benefits of this stuff come from actually doing the notes and not worrying about whether your topics are right or whether you're using the right tools or whether you're using the right things. Even if you do it on index cards, even if you do it, I don't care. It's that process of doing that, right? That is absolutely key. All right. So that is fundamentally really a powerful thing. So that was my lesson of the week. And by the way, so I thought, well, let's do this. Let's do a 5-day experiment. And then we're going to talk about the benefits of the TT challenge, that approach, which Michael Hewitt-Gleason came up with. And also, I'd just be can't wait to see the results if people actually do these smart notes for 5 days straight. Some of the things that they will come up with. It's very, very powerful. Okay, so let's have a look at what your lessons were for this week. Kanban gives peace of mind. Yes, it does. You don't have to, because if you don't have a Kanban board in front of you, entrepreneurs, anybody with a follow through of 6 or less, will be using up major caloric load in your brain, literally using up lots of chemicals and calories that could be used for creativity and making connections and, giving your best work and getting you into flow easier. A lot of those calories are used literally trying to remember in your head everything that you're doing. And writing it down on a to-do list or writing it in a organizer of some kind just will not work for anybody with a follow-through lower than 6 on the Colby scale. And it's once you understand that, and once you realize that the only way that you can remember this stuff is if you've got a dirty big visual board in front of you that you cannot escape, that your brain relaxes and goes, oh, well, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do. Like I'm just to give you an example, like I have to totally reset my board today because I've been away. I've been away for 10 days up in Sydney, and I need to look at, I'm going to do a 50-minute focus finder, completely redo my board. So all the stuff, all that pent up stuff, I'll vomit it all out in the 50-minute focus finder, and then I'll do it on the board. Then I won't need to do another 50-minute focus finder. I don't need to do them each week. I only do them after trips or whenever I feel overwhelmed. If I ever feel myself feeling that overwhelmed feeling coming on, then bam, that is a signal to me to do a 50-minute focus finder. So that's great. You can create a business that feeds you and your family well, 4 CFTs per day and having a life. That's fantastic. I would argue to you, Jochen, look, good. That's great that you're doing that. I would argue to you that 4 CFTs a day constantly is not sustainable. But let's see how you go, right? So just be prepared to wind it back and to have some time off and to have some breaks because you'll burn out. All right. So just be very careful about that. Definitely 4 CFTs a day you can do for a short period of time. And that's what we call a sprint. And I actually encourage sprints, but you'll need a break because you don't want to burn out and, spend all that enthusiasm. And then all of a sudden you'll be watching TV instead of working on your business because you've burnt all the chemicals out in your brain. Setting up an online business takes time. Yeah, it takes about 68 tickets, right? So it's not it's a matter of getting through those tickets each week, right? That's the whole concept behind the recipe. And that's a key thing. I can start over if I make a mistake. Yeah, no, the stoic approach to business building is, nobody's there desperately waiting for your online business. So if you need to start again, you can. I need to reduce CFTs. Yes, crucial, because here's the other danger of scheduling in too many CFTs. If you don't achieve the CFTs you've selected for the week, you get that you miss that chemical dopamine, right? Because it doesn't matter how much you got done and how brilliantly you did it. If you didn't hit that, you miss your expectation, and there's no if you don't hit expectations, there's no release of dopamine. Some great tips on making videos from a Udemy course. So many great training courses out there now. When I'm laid low, no one cares whether or not the business progresses. That's right. Motivation now that I feel better. Yeah, and the other thing is, constantly thinking, oh, look at all the time I missed last week. It's over. It's done. Can't do anything. I don't dwell a lot on past activities here in the academy because if you'll choose to do the Zettelcast and a training assignment or not, I don't mind, right? And you either do it or you don't do it, and that's fine, right? But you can't burn yourself up saying next week, oh, I should have really done that assignment. I really should have done that, right? That's no good. Trello works great for me for Zettel notes. Okay, that's interesting. That's an interesting tool. Cool. Whatever floats your boat. And that is one Zettel is, but that's why we've got to train in the habits, right? One of the key things of the Zettelcast is by using a visible system where you're seeing your notes all the time, you're triggering that thing. Because remember, what did I say? If you have a 6 or less follow through, your use of digital systems is not good, right? It's bad, right? So we have to be very, very, very mindful. And I've been doing it now since November. So, you can, and it has not been a stress for me because creating at least 3 notes a day for me has not been, it hasn't been too hard. It's been quick, but remembering to do it is really tricky, right? Because there's no visual thing unless like I have here, staring me, literally stuck in the middle of my monitor, done your 3 notes, right? Because I don't trust myself to remember. Another thing would be to put a reminder on your smartphone or something along those lines. But here's the trick. Don't do the reminder at the end of the day or too late, right? If you're in bed and all of a sudden the reminder goes off, oh, have you done your 3 notes? And you haven't. Set it at a time where it's good note-taking time for you, right? I often find that in the afternoon, when I'm at my lower energy levels, is actually a good time to do the Zettelkasten notes. So that is a good thing. Got confirmation of requirements for copyright of a paid product. Need to take time to sleep. Zettelkasten is great for notes. It is brilliant. Brad says, how awesome Zettelkasten is. Fondling and smushing just happening in my head spontaneously as I link stuff. Ideas keep spilling out. I'm finding, that's why I want to do this challenge for people, because I find even after you do it for like a consistent 5 days, spoiler alert, you'll start to really see the benefits of it. And unfortunately, people are spending way too much time talking about tools and topic training and arguing what the different types of things and what you're. I don't care how you do it, as long as you do it, because then you'll get the benefits. After losing my first academy environment, it really reinforced the importance of having one. So true. All right. The environment is the key element of success, right? It is absolutely key, because there's one thing that's in common for personal. Whenever you're trying to change a personal habit, there are only 3 things that you can impact, right? There's your environment, there is your energy, and there is your time. Whenever you're trying to change something personally, like lose weight or anything, remember to do Zettelkasten. Anything like that, where it's you personally, right? It's a thing that you're doing on a personal basis, that you're trying to change yourself, a habit or something like that. There are only 3 factors. There are only those 3 3 factors: environment, right? Energy, and time. All right. So that's for you personally. Now, when we look at any activity, when we look at our easy formula, whenever we're trying to make an activity easier, like working on our academy project or doing the actual process of doing Zettelkasten notes, there are only 3 things we can do to impact to make those easier, right? So they are, right, a roadmap, simplify, and environment. And you notice there's one common element in both these key activities. At the end of the day, as your coach, there's only for activities, there are these 3 things I can do to help with an activity. With a personal habit change, there's only these 3 factors that I can put together. And that, and environment is the only commonality between all of them. It is so powerful, and science is telling us that. And so that's why we spend a hell of a lot of time talking about environment in the academy, because if you're doing your academy project in the same environment you're doing your day at 9 to 5 job, you're in trouble. If you're doing your academy project in the same place where you relax and do hobbies and do things like that, you're in trouble. Right? If you try to do your work environment when you're doing that, when you're trying to relax, if you've got your phone with you and you do work on your phone, you're in trouble, right? It's all of those sorts of things. If you've got any computers within eyesight, they can be turned off, even if they're, the stats and the science is incontrovertible. You will not get rest, right? Because your brain is noting subconsciously that your work stuff is within range. And so it's always keeping some calories and some chemicals on that thing, on that hook. Redid some fundamental lessons. Well done. For $5 a day, I can afford to test an ad without worrying about it being perfect. And Facebook advertising is affordable. Praise. Yes. That's the thing, people, and hear this, and, I saw Frank, and if you're not watching Frank on Instagram, he's doing an amazing job with Instagram, but he's talking about, spending $50,000 a month on social media and getting these amazing results, which is fantastic. But then you get into your head, right? You, again, subconsciously, oh, I need to be spending thousands and thousands of dollars. When you see anybody like that talking about ads, just cut off all the zeros, right? I'm spending $5 and I'm making $11, right? Cut off all the zeros and it still works, right? And that's really what the important thing for you to take note of is the ratio of what they're doing is working. You can start, and the biggest ad campaigns in the planet on Facebook in particular start off at $5 a day, right? It's pointless to spend more than $5 a day when you're first starting a campaign because of the way Facebook works. Getting many insights from Perry Marshall's 80-20 marketing. Yes, it's a good one. Tickets dramatically cut the overwhelm normally had from 30-day challenges. Praise. I schedule 7 CFTs and consistently do 12 or more. I feel great. Great lesson from Ed. Now, here's the trick for you, Alan. This goes the other way. What happens when you get into a walking routine, right? First, you get amazing health benefits. If you walk your 3 kilometers a day and you've never walked before, and you build up to that and you do that for a couple of months, you get fabulous health benefits. But then you get 0 health benefits because you are standing, your body's adapted, right? You go, oh yes, I do a walk every 3 days, right? And indeed, you'll feel not great on days that you don't walk, right? So your body adapts. So something that you need to do, Alan, is if you're constantly scheduling 7 and you consistently do 12 or more, you need to increase your scheduled, right? Because here's the thing, your brain will settle into that and you won't get the dopamine, right? Because your brain knows you're doing the trick, right? So keep that in mind, right? It's probably fine now for at least a month, like doing 7 and doing 12 for the next month or 2 is probably no problem whatsoever. Just a word of warning, like you will have to, if you consistently keep doing that, you're going to have to increase your scheduled CFTs. Otherwise, you won't get the benefit of it. Okay, so just keep that in mind until you find your excellent area. So just keep in mind. Library day tomorrow. Fantastic. Being a high fact finder and high implementer causes conflict. Understanding this helps me move forward. Set up Candidly, Jotform, and Zoom all linked. Very nice. Very good. Having trouble with Zoom? First, that's not a learn, Carla. Have had visual and audio, but can't see anyone else's comments in the chat. Yeah, you might need to drop out and come back in and reset it. I had some problems with Zoom myself this morning. So I've got fortunately, I'm back home, so I've got my cable, which is great. Okay, so we are at the help stage and we are here for our needs. And so with needs, very important for you to put an N and a colon in front of them so that I can see them and make sure they have that process, okay? And I won't miss them, most importantly. Okay, let's get a new page here going. Okay, Barbara is our first contestant there today.
Hello.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
Okay, so will they talk to you?
So I placed my ad for the survey. It started running yesterday morning.
Mm-hmm.
$5 a day. The the target group is 99,000 people on Facebook. And I wanted to share with you the results for the first day and tell me if you think I should tweak anything. So,
okay, before you do that, what roadmap are you using?
the combination of the Running Lean and Marisa's survey approach.
Okay, so you're trying an untested roadmap.
Well, the survey I've tested myself. I'm just trying to tack on the running.
No, Barbara.
Okay.
It's new, right? You're running an untested, right? This is an untested approach. Do you know anybody who has successfully done this particular combination of Marisa plus Running Lean?
No.
No, that's cool. That's fine. But I've just got to put this in context.
Okay.
Right? Because the next thing you're going to ask is, okay, well, what are the metrics of this? Now, if you were using the Winterhaven methodology, I could rat off, okay, you need 8 out of 100 respondents responding to your emails, right? So you need an 8% success rate. Your ad needs the 1% success click-through rate link, right? I know how to rattle off those stats because it's a tried, true, tested roadmap, okay? If I was just doing Marisa's survey thing, which you've done before, right?
Yes.
Right? Marisa teaches specific success criteria. Here's what you need for this to be successful.
Right.
Okay. So what's Marisa say in her roadmap is successful numbers for survey responses off Facebook?
Well, she doesn't give actual numbers in this roadmap. The roadmap that I'm following, Ed, is more about defining the market than it is about measuring results. There's another one later about measuring results, but I'm not doing that.
Right. Okay. So again, just to clarify, we're using a roadmap that doesn't even have a destination. Right. A roadmap cannot exist without a destination. Right. If we don't know the metric we're aiming for, we're going blind.
Okay.
All right. And that's this. I'm just pointing this out. It's fine. You're being a pioneer. Now, I would prefer to leave pioneering to the master chefs, right? I would prefer to cook if I'm cooking my first meal, right? If I haven't been successful online, making money, hitting the $10,000 a month mark, I tend to just execute 100% proven roadmaps where if I'm going to bake this scone or scone, depending on what part of the world you're in, I know what a scone looks like. I know what it is. Now, my scone might be flatter because I'm stuffed up one of the ingredients, but I know what it's all about. Here, what you're creating is an experiment without metrics, right? So I don't know. We're going to discover, right? We're going to discover whether this works or not based on that. But as a general rule, right, don't be a pioneer. Right? Don't create your own methodologies by mixing and I'm 100% in favor of that. 100% love it. Not when I'm starting out a business though. Not when there are so many tried, tested, trial by fire, proven methodologies with absolutely 100% proven metrics to know that something works. Just the point. So, okay, what were your stats?
So in 24 hours, I had 575 impressions and 43 clicks, which is 7.5%. Of those that clicked, only 14 completed the survey, which is 19% of that group, which suggests maybe I want to tweak my survey. 4 of those gave me their email address, and 2 people actually scheduled appointments to talk to me in the Running Lean kind of approach. So I hear what you said. I felt like that was a pretty good result from $5 though. And what I'm trying to understand is there are other interests I could target on Facebook, and I could make changes to the survey. And I'm trying to get a sense of how many how long I should let it run without touching it before I make a tweak, if that makes sense, if it can be answered with such a hybrid approach.
Why are you doing this? What's the reason for running this process?
Well, there's two reasons, and that's how I ended up at a hybrid. First of all, I have lots of ideas about what the top 3 problems for this group might be, but I'm not sure that I have the right 3. So I'm trying to discover. I thought if I got 100 responses, I would have a pretty good indication of what my top 3 problems were for in the running lean conversations. And I would also have a sense of whether people would give me their emails. And I thought as long as I was doing that and getting their emails, I might as well try and see if any of them would go ahead and just book those running lean appointments. I didn't think I had anything to lose by, on the thank you page, offering them that opportunity. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, except trying to do more than one thing at a time is really dangerous. Right? Because as it turns out, in this particular case, I think it's worked magnificently. Right? But don't expect me to be happy about that because there's no process here. Right? So that looks to me, those numbers look fantastic.
Okay.
Right? So, but I can't offer you any advice. I have no clue. Right? But I can tell you for the running lean process, we want to book, 5 to 7 appointments.
Right.
Because there we're doing that. Now, in the running lean process, as you rightly pointed out, right, you do have to have your best guess, right, at the top 3 problems.
Right. That's how I ended up at this hybrid model, because I had had some good experience with running a survey before to get to that answer. So that's why I did like this mishmash.
Yeah, I don't care about your justification. It's cool. It's cool. Fantastic. It's worked well in this case. But when the wheels fall off, the next time you do it, just understand, right? This is fantastic. This is great. The Decker approach, right? You've created something. Now, of course, like any experiment, we have to replicate it many, many times for it to become a good roadmap, but it's nice. I like it. Right? Okay. But I can't offer you any advice on it. I've never seen it before in my life. But what I can tell you is what I have seen, and we have literally thousands and thousands of repeated experiments on, is for running lean, having the customer problem, running that approach, we need 5 to 7 appointments to turn up.
Right.
Because we know that will give us a concrete base for which to go forward.
Right.
And if I'm looking at will the market talk to us part of the process, again, I can't tell you for this approach. I have no idea, no clue whatsoever. But as a general rule, we know that we need to get an 8% response when we ask something of somebody, right? So when you got 14 people filled out the survey.
Right.
And when you ask them after the survey to do the appointment.
Right.
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 You got 2 leads.
Yes.
2 people responded.
Right. Plus I have 4 others that gave me their emails and are open to my continuing engagement with them.
Did they respond to an email communication directly to you? Yes or no?
No, they just added it.
So, stop. No, that's cool, right? No, we need to the Winterhaven method is bulletproof, right? It is a tried and tested methodology. We know that the market is worth continuing with, like to move on to the traffic stage from a recipe perspective, is if they pass will they talk to you at an 8% level? Right? We know that that's the case. So here you had 14 surveys filled out and 2 people communicated with you to schedule a meeting with you.
Right.
Right? What percentage of 14 is 2?
14%. Oh, maybe I plugged that in wrong. That doesn't seem right. No, it's 14%.
14%. So as far as I'm concerned, you've answered the question, will the market talk to you? Right? Tick. Right? That's not a problem.
Right.
And you've already, so now you've had, you've had 14 surveys, right? I don't know that you need
Right.
thousands of surveys. Maybe a few
Right.
more would be nice, but you need, right? What I do know is that you need 5 to 7 appointments. So based on that, you need to, if this ad is doing this, you either create a new ad or you try to tweak it to improve your results, but everything seems relatively on track.
Okay. So may I ask?
But you see, just in teaching you to fish, not just ask me, do you see if you had a proven roadmap, you would have known the answers to these questions. You wouldn't have been uncertain about it.
Right.
Right. So I need you to build certainty. I'm not doing my job properly if you can't be certain, particularly for a high fact finder like yourself.
Right.
Right. I need to breed into, like, if you're starting a process and you don't know the metrics that you have to hit for this process, then that should be a red flag for you.
Okay.
All right. So that's the thing to take out next time. Next time when you're designing an experiment, you may have invented the best methodology known to humankind here. This could be genius. I don't know. I have no idea. It may be brilliant. Right. But that's your job is not to come up with brilliant research processes. Your job is to make moolah.
Right.
As quickly as possible. Okay. So traditionally that way, because you've hit a home run, but I'm very wary of gamblers who hit big on their first at bat.
You do remember the poker in my background, right?
Yes. Well, right? What's the worst thing that can happen to somebody who's just starting out poker? What's the worst thing that can happen to them?
Play at stakes too high for their bankroll.
No, that's not the worst thing that can happen. What's the worst thing that can happen?
Well, they go broke or they win.
No, they win. They win big.
Yeah, and then they end up playing at stakes too high.
Because it can happen, right? They just ask, they go all in, and by some ridiculous odds that drives the professionals bananas, they win, right? And so they think, oh, I've got this down pat, right? They're awesome. And what happens? They get truly killed because forever they're chasing that dopamine chemical rush of that very unlikely. So you've just used poker terminology. You've had a 2 and a 7 in your hand. That's not true, actually. That's not true because you're mushing 2 proven methodologies together. So so it's not. So you've probably got a pair of 10s or something here, right? But somebody's had an ace king and you've got the third 10, right? So it's not. It's as my job here is to teach and to coach, right? So if you're ever starting out, if you're ever doing anything, this goes to everybody on this call. If you ever start a process like this and you don't know what the success metrics look like, stop. You can't go forward. You must understand what the success metrics are before. Now, if it's a brand new process, you don't know what the success metrics are, right? But then you have to say, well, what would I be happy with? And that's the only thing I could step back and give you an analysis on, is to use some core rules of thumb, right, that I could step back and go, okay, well, that's it. So you've got your answers, I think, Barbara.
Yeah, I have one more question, if you don't mind. One of the ladies who did schedule an interview, of course, I read her survey, and it's obvious she's in a great deal of pain over her current situation. Our meeting isn't until Friday, and I'm torn between sending her a personal email now, acknowledging her pain, and saying something to her, or waiting until Friday to have my first interaction with her. Which do you prefer as a human being?
I think you've answered the question.
I think I have to reach out, right?
That's like you just asked me as a human being, what would I do? Because let me tell you what I do as a computer. I wouldn't reach out.
Friday.
I'd wait till Friday, right? But as a human being, I think you reach out.
That's what I was going to do. I just wanted to bounce it off you first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There will come a time where you won't be able to, right? And that's where we have to have another discussion, but that's another discussion for another day.
Right. Okay. I thank you very much.
No worries, Barbara. Good. I think that helped a lot of people. A lot of people are telling me that was awesome. So thank you very much. All right, cool. Let's bring that, where are we? We're chatty. Oh, Alex has got a great question. Coming to you next, Alex. All right, Alex, you have got an e-commerce conference nearby. It's my target market, thinking of doing problem interviews in person. Asking because at the same time, my focus is the Winter Haven method. Oops, hang on. I pressed the wrong Alex. Sorry, Alex Foster. Hang on, Alex
Good
Foster.
morning.
Hang on, let me just turn off Alex in case he starts heckling. That's all right. We're good.
Good morning, Ed.
Yeah, so you've got an e-commerce conference that's nearby. It's your target market.
Yep.
This is one of for me, this is fun. Nothing beats face-to-face discussions, right? Nothing beats face-to-face discussions when understanding a problem in a market. Okay, that's our wall plaque. Nothing beats it. So if you've got an opportunity to do this, yes, grab it with both hands. If it's close by and it's not going to cost you too much, and it's the best thing you can possibly do. And particularly now you've got a little bit of a protocol in the back. You can do it with some science, right? Because you've got the basis of a discussion to have with people. Because here's the thing. People are there, right? And they're paid to be there. And honestly, having a conversation brightens their day, right? Because sometimes they have to be there for a whole bunch of time. They're trapped, and they love, because if they're talking, they're doing something. Going to trade shows and those sorts of things, and chatting with people and doing all that sort of stuff is one of the absolute best things you can do. Not one of, I think it's the best thing that you can do. If it's truly your target market, nothing beats face-to-face.
So here's the follow-up question, because it's an e-commerce conference, so the exhibitors are going to be providers for e-commerce, whether mail software, whatever it is, right? Not the e-commerce people that I want to talk. I want to talk to e-commerce, basically people attending the conference. How should I approach it without projecting this feeling of a person collecting a survey with a notepad that everyone just ignores?
Oh, well, see, I wouldn't do that, right? But I trust myself, right? I don't take a lot of notes, if any notes, when I'm doing a problem interview, right? Because your brain will remember. It'll remember the 3 problems. Because what do you need out of a customer problem interview, Alex? What's the key thing?
I want to understand what's the number 1 problem and how they talk about it.
Very good. That's all you need to remember, right? So why are you walking around with a notepad and notes and being a bit creepy? You don't need to do that. Just have a casual conversation. And by the way, talking with the vendors, what's really interesting with the vendors is because they're captured, right? They have to talk to you. When you're talking to vendors, sorts of things I'd be asking is, just having a chat and say, I'm doing a research project on e-commerce. Just say, I'm doing a research project on e-commerce. What do you find are the biggest problems that people are having when getting their e-commerce sorted out? They'll love you to have a chance to talk to somebody and look like they're doing work as their manager's walking by. They'll love you for it.
Okay, I'll include that in the mix as well. But I'll try to hang around some coffee place or something.
But think about it, right? You do the so you do the I've got one other really great trick too to help you with. Right. So with the vendors, the people who are exhibiting, they have their views about what the problems in the market are. So they're very interested. And by the way, they're already dealing with the markets. So that's going to give you some great research and some great article ideas and great potential Zettelkasten notes and great, it's a bounty. And then actually talking to your actual target market, if you strike up a conversation with somebody, you happen to be in the queue or something, it's just natural thing. You don't force yourself upon people, right? And I hate doing that, by the way. I don't want to speak to anybody when I'm at a trade show. So I'll tell you how I do it. I go to the sessions and I always ask the first question. Do you know how in sessions of when they have a Q&A at the end, like they have question and answer, there's always hesitation. Nobody asks the first question. And it's absolute science, right? It's like there's many reasons why people won't do this. And then do you notice once the first person answers the question, there's dozens of questions, right? Yes. So my secret power technique so I don't have to introduce myself to anybody and have awkward conversations, is I would stand up and let's say it was on connecting e-commerce to WordPress. I don't know, I'm making it up, right? Let's say it's e-commerce. I would stand up and say, hi, my name's Ed Dale and I'm doing a research project on the challenges that people have when connecting their e-commerce sites to their websites. And the question I have for you about WordPress is, what are the big challenges that you see? What are the big mistakes that you see people are making? Right. So that's the question. But what have I done?
You've introduced yourself and gave the context.
Potentially 1,000 people, and don't worry, people will find you.
I love it. I absolutely love this trick.
It's the most awesome trick, and I've given it away now. Anytime I'm in a session, I will endeavor to ask the first question. And I'll always introduce myself when asking the question.
I'll be listening to the sessions, especially within this context, within this light.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
To actually be able to answer the question in a congruent way that it won't be like someone will actually beat me to it.
It's a planning, right? It's these things again, like everything. There are roadmaps. There are roadmaps for being when another thing that I do with trade shows is that if I'm targeting a particular person that I really, really want to speak to at a trade show and I don't know them, right, I'll follow them on Twitter, right? Hopefully they're on Twitter. And this is a couple of months before, I'll start, if they ask a question, I'll try answer the question, right? Most people will say, I want to meet with you. I want to do a meeting with you, because it's all about me. I'm never like that. I'm always, how can I help this person? Right. And if you put in, because here's the thing, I know 100%, if somebody replies to my tweets, right, I learn them, right? I know their name. And when they come up to me at a conference, I'm really pleased to put a face to the name. Right. So there's all sorts of things that you can do. All right. So that's given you a bunch of things that you can do. My answer is yes, you should go. Is that you good, Alex?
It's awesome. The advice is great. I'll the asking the session, asking the question on the sessions, and talking to vendors.
Yep,
that's amazing. That really makes me easy about going there without feeling like.
No, because you've got a strategy. You've got exactly. You've got a You're not walking around with a notebook and notepad, for example. Can I do it Thursday? No, that's bad.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
All right. Good on you, mate. See you later. Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. Not good. Simon, let's see. Simon, here he is. Hey, Simon, how you going?
I'm good. How are you, Ed?
Very good. This might be a relatively quick one, but let's have a look. Now, So did E5 Todd recommending Google Ads as a niche as people with chronic fatigue syndrome? So explain what you're talking about there.
Yeah. So I know we've talked about this before, but when I did E5, he said, look, because you're working with people with myalgic encephalomyelitis, chronic fatigue syndrome, targeting those on Facebook is, a bit more challenging. And therefore, and so he was saying, if you're targeting on Google, you can put ads in front of those people who are searching for those specific terms.
They're reaching out for potential treatments.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just wondered if you had any thoughts about that. I know, you've alluded to some of the challenges of, using Google and cost, etc. Whereas obviously Facebook's cheaper.
Yeah, but if it's not effective, it's not cheaper.
That's the thing.
Right. So I would 100% concur with what Todd's talking about. And here's, and we know from ad trends and what the professionals are talking about in these ad situations is that, effectiveness of Facebook ads is going down. And Google is potentially going up, but does that mean we stop advertising on Facebook? Of course not, right? It just look at Barbara's results. She got fantastic results for her thing, right? So it just all depends, but I would absolutely do the experiment. So the key thing you're going to ask yourself is, what roadmap are you going to follow to run your first lot of Google tests?
That's a good question. I mean, I've used Google before successfully. That was a few years ago.
Yeah. It's all changed.
I do. Yeah, absolutely. I've got access to the Google support. They will talk me through. But if you've got any suggestions for roadmaps,
what I was going to suggest was that you pop a question in the in the Slack, and people give you some suggestions about because ultimately, here's the thing. My ultimate suggestion is that you'll have somebody do this for you, right? I think all of us as business owners of our academy projects ultimately will have somebody else do the advertising for you, because it's just it's a full-time 100% science.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's absolutely that it's just critical in that sense, right? It's just but you need to do some testing, right? So you need to get a current roadmap. So I would suggest let's get into the squad and ask what that is. I think my favorite teaching place for all of this stuff is Justin Brooks courses and membership. But ultimately, that membership is really for people who are going to become full-time ad experts, right? And going to build their own agencies and all of those sorts of things. Yeah. But I pay for it because it's a way of me sort of absorbing some key things, right? Whereas there may be, for example, there might be a really good Udemy course that's $20 that can get you started safely.
Right. And just another quick question. Have you got any thoughts about live webinar versus evergreen benefits?
Well, the goal is evergreen. The best results are always live. That's the fun. But you want to get your evergreen webinars to a point where they get decent enough results.
Yeah. Okay. So keep going with live webinar for a bit until I've really hammered it.
Absolutely. Until, because here's the thing, right? You want to be generating 10 grand a month, right, from your webinars. And then at that point you go, okay, because to make an evergreen, here's the thing. If you don't have a proven, reliable, solid lead generation traffic source, then putting time, putting time into the evergreen stuff is not useful.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Ed.
No worries.
Bye for now.
All right. See you, Simon. Okay, there we go. Okay, what do we got next here? Let's move that. Okay. Okay, Monica, you are next. And just to let you know I've got Monica, I've got Nancy. Yeah, Monica and Nancy seem to be like the last two. Well, but Monica, you need to unmute if you're there, Monica. Oh, there we are. You're lucky. I was about to bounce you for Nancy.
Yes.
You are here, Monica.
Am I here? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So hi. Good morning.
Good morning or good evening for you. Good night for you.
Yes.
Okay, so let's have a look. So you're looking at you're doing one-to-one sales, but you're looking. So why don't you explain?
Okay. So I'm my highest offer should be a mastermind like Joe Polly's Genius Network, kind of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And at this moment, I'm selling one-on-ones via LinkedIn, doing contacts, grooming contacts, and then asking for network call, then asking for strategy session, then selling thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is my way, one-on-one. And it's a quite tough way, frankly. Mm-hmm. So on the other hand, I thanks to my German squad members, they helped me optimize my opt-in page for the Kanban freebie.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, so the Kanban freebie.
Or should I say, wunderbar?
Awesome. So thank you to my German friends here. So the opt-in page is ready, but I think if I do my freebies and then I get my leads and then I think I won't. How shall I say? I think I maybe I should have something I can sell in between,
mm-hmm.
or shall I just get better on getting leads via my freebie?
Well, here's the thing. If you don't have leads, how can you sell anything?
By phoning.
Mm-hmm. But you're doing that anyway, I imagine, right? With the process of one-on-ones, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas, for me, if you're collecting leads, you can still do one-on-one. I could get one-on-one consulting clients till the cows come home. Mm. If I'm doing a lead gen and I run them through the Winterhaven method, that's my number one favorite way of recruiting one-on-one clients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So you can, because here's the thing it's like I was saying to Barbara, right? 8% of those people who ask for the freebie, right, want to buy straight away.
Mm-hmm.
And the Winterhaven method is a way of figuring out who is that 8% and then leading them down the path to asking them, do you want my help with that?
Mm-hmm. I see.
Right. But here's the thing, hasten slowly. Monica, you've been working on this for years, literally, right? So you've got to, right, the classic definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, right? You've got to execute on your opt-in lead generation. Got to execute on it. And yes, does that mean that there will be a time, like like as in the recipe, we talk about 68 tickets, and depending on how much work you're doing and all that sort of thing, that 68 tickets on average will take somewhere between, 32 weeks. And well, I suppose I did it in 4 weeks, but I was able to be full-time and I'm a master chef. Right. So it's an unfair comparison. All right. So the thing that I would look at, Monica, when you're doing this is you've just got to kick off the process of the free, because here's the thing. If somebody asks me what's the fastest way to make a sale, I'm a big fan of coaching, right? I'm a huge fan of coaching, so, and particularly because you've got such a great profile in Germany, right? Right. You're an expert in Germany in, helping women with, business executives with time management. You've done the magazine, right? So it's right. It's not even an issue. And you need to build up, if you ask me what's the fastest way to get one-on-ones, see, even the LinkedIn, I'd much prefer to have the if you're getting leads via LinkedIn, are you using the Winter Haven methodology with these leads? Oop, you there, Monica?
Yes, I hear.
Yeah. So are you using the Winter Haven methodology with LinkedIn leads?
I not have paid LinkedIn leads. I have them via contacting.
Does it still the same? Because ultimately at some point they will return the contact, right?
Yes, and I'm quite good. The ratio is quite good.
Right.
Yeah.
So what process do you use currently when you get a LinkedIn lead to get them to a sale?
I invite them to a network call.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and,
so triage call.
Yes, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm just calling it that for
Yes.
So
totally.
see if we can work together, and then there's a strategy call after that.
Yes, I don't call it. Let's
No,
see
I'm just applying
together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. And so is the first thing you do after you get the LinkedIn lead, invite them to that triage call?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What if you actually inserted the Winter Haven process at that point? So they contact you back, and instead of saying, hey, come to my triage call, selling them immediately, what if you said, hey, what's your big challenge right now?
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, you're going straight to, like, it's a horrible old school numbers game that you're playing right now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so why don't you get the odds in your favor by actually giving them some help and building up a relationship before you're instantly asking them to get on a phone call?
Frankly, I do the relationship building.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me about 6 weeks until I ask them for a call.
Well, see, that's too long,
mm-hmm.
in my opinion. That's way too long. Because here's the thing, the 8% who are interested, they've already bought something. They've already scratched their itch in 6 weeks.
True.
Right? That's that. So here's the thing. Again, it was like I was saying to Barbara, Monica, you just flailing, right? You're doing the right. You're trying to make it up as you go when there are proven 100% methodologies that work exceptionally well in this process, right? So you get any sort of reply contact from LinkedIn goes into the Winterhaven process. Because here's the thing, in the Winterhaven process, you should get your problem question answered within 24 to 48 hours, your opportunity question answered in 24 to 48 hours, the why is it an important thing now to do, 24 to 48 hours, can I help you in 24 hours, right? And it's a conversation that occurs over the course of a week, not 6 weeks, because they've already, if it's taking 6 weeks, they've bought something. They've scratched their itch.
The lead is generated not via an ad, but via contact request.
Doesn't matter. Eventually, they respond to you in some sort of fashion, right? I don't care what the methodology is. I don't care whether it's email, Facebook messages, LinkedIn chat, IRC, carrier pigeon, Telegram. I don't care. I don't care what it is, right? They go into a process because remember, the 100% thing that we need to understand is a fundamental, will they talk to us? Because if they will not talk to us, they will not buy from us.
True.
And there's a proven methodology, taught by the best coach of coaches in the world, right? Like if you want to land a one-on-one client, and we're talking $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 engagements.
Yes.
Right. So this works. Why not copy it? Because if it's taking you 6 weeks to do it, then it's going wrong. And that's why you should be excited to launch your opt-in, right? Because that is also another way of generating a will they talk to me conversation. And so so how many CFTs have you got this week?
Not so much, about four.
Okay, cool. So, right, how are you going to best utilize those 4 CFTs? What are you going to do based on this conversation?
Do my LinkedIn work, my contact work, but change it into Winterhaven communications.
Correct. Yep. Nice. So and how many CFTs does the LinkedIn stuff typically take?
Nowadays, frankly, a lot, because I do a lot of talks.
Yeah, so this is great. So you're doing you're so close, Monica. You are so close, right? We just have to lock in, right, the Winterhaven methodology, and then maybe tweak the triage and strategy call, because again, the science behind the triage and strategy call is absolute, right? There is a step-by-step, word-by-word conversation that you should have in those 2 calls to maximize your sales for one-on-one coaching. Right? It's 100% proven.
Absolutely. And I would like to say my market does talk to me. I have huge numbers.
Yeah, this is the point, right? You're steps away. What's the problem is that what we need to bring is massive structure, because you, like me, are a high quick start, right? So you're constantly doing that. And so there's, and when you've got cash flow stress and you've got all these different things going on, right? Then just trying different stuff, right? And you're actually working way harder on the LinkedIn, like you're dedicating too much time to the LinkedIn process.
Yeah.
Because you can already right? And if you're at a talk, maybe there's a way that we can fast track the talk process.
Yes, I have to optimize things, you know.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Guess what I'm going to tell you? The talk should be a Winter Haven opening as well. Right? So you get people you have some sort of download or email or so. You have to get them to make the first step, because remember the golden rule. If they won't talk to you, they will not buy from you.
Yeah.
Okay. So for your 4, looking at your lessons for this week, right? Your 4 lessons for this week. What's the I think you have to ramp back your LinkedIn work, which will actually be much more efficient because you're just using the Winter Haven method, but you need to launch your opt-in page and start driving traffic to the opt-in page. As Val pointed out, right, in the wins for the week, €5, and you start getting leads, and all of a sudden, you get 8% of those leads will want to buy something. They're going to buy something from you or somebody else in the next few weeks. So let's see if it should be you.
Yeah.
You've got to have your factory.
Pardon?
You've got to have your customer factory, right? It's got to become, for us high quick starts, and this is where all the fact finders can laugh at us for a little bit, right? Because if we keep trying different stuff, we never lock in something that becomes a factory, right?
Yeah.
We need to, you're doing all the right things from a influence building perspective. You're doing all of that. Like your coaching work, when you actually get a coaching client, they love it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
right. So we've got all the things in place. We just need to do a solid, repeatable factory process, which will really, first of all, we're going to get you up to one-on-ones, because that solves the cash flow, right? Right. And by the way, there's proven methodologies to switch people over from one-on-ones to masterminds. Right.
That's my step. Yes.
Yeah, there are guaranteed, proven methodologies to execute switching people from one-to-one to masterminds.
Okay.
Right? So that's a proof. But I'm not even going to talk about that, because until we have a solid
step. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. So do you know what you need to do for this week?
Absolutely. I have to watch my figures. I will test Winter Haven from this moment on with the client who answer my request, and I will shorten the process from 6 to 6 days.
Yeah, that's right. It should be 6-7 days, and you take, and what's important, right, is that you answer in your normal time. So if a question comes in on a Saturday, you don't answer it immediately on a Saturday. You answer it on Monday morning. That's what I do, right? Because what happens, the power of the Winter Haven method is people freak out because they don't think they're talking to a real person. They particularly don't think that they're talking to Monica, right? They think they're talking to one of Monica's, minions. Right, so it's very, very powerful. All right, good on you, Monica. We better get to Nancy, because she's been hanging on there. So let's have a look. And we had a bit of a conversation about this one, Nancy. So thank you for coming on the call. Hello there, Nancy.
Hello, are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you beautifully. All good. All good. Okay. So, we had a bit of a conversation during the week, and you said you wanted to make sure your market was good. And so you initially said to me, now, what was it? What was your initial market that you were talking about?
I think it just was women entrepreneurs over 50.
Yeah, right. And that's a really big group.
Right.
Right. And so sometimes when we're looking, one of the key principles that we often talk about is single target market. Because if I'm trying to decide what women entrepreneur problems are over 50, okay, you could probably have a good stab at that, right? You could have a good stab. But if I inserted the words women real estate agents,
Mm-hmm. It's a real narrow, specific group.
Well, and do you see how the problems become completely different?
Right.
But that's not a narrow, specific group. Do you know how many female real estate agents over 50 there are in the United
Yeah.
States?
Actually, I've coached a couple.
So, how many? There are literally what, tens of thousands,
Yeah.
right? So you get 300 of those in a mastermind group that's paying you, $30 a month,
Mm-hmm.
and that's $1 million business, for example. Right? Do you see?
Sure.
So the thing, so you don't, when you're starting out with this, that doesn't mean that we're going to focus on real estate, but the way I describe it is that, what happens is people go, say your local florist, and you walk
Mhm.
into your local florist and you say, hey, I can get you more customers for your business. And what do? They say, go away. Right?
Right.
They said, go away, because you and 7 other people told me, I'm getting faxes, I'm getting emails every day, I'm getting telemarketers all telling me that they can increase my business. But if you walk there into the florist and say, hey, do you do weddings? All of a sudden, you are talking about florists crack cocaine.
Right.
So you'll strike up a conversation. Do you have a capacity to handle a couple more weddings next month? Which, of course, they'll say, oh, yeah, absolutely. Right? And then you say, well, we've been helping businesses get these leads, and we've got a couple of leads that we'd like to send you for next month. Right? And so you send them those leads because you've been generating them those leads. Do you see how it's a completely different conversation?
Right.
And so when you look at, if you're just looking at women entrepreneurs over 50, look, the reality is the teachings, the trainings, the fundamentals, all of that are the same. Doesn't matter whether it's real estate, florists, mechanics, lawyers, MLM. It doesn't matter, right? What your training and your techniques are the same, right, Nancy?
Right. Because actually, I've coached the people you just mentioned, MLM, real estate, and entrepreneurs.
There you
I've done
go.
the coaching in that. I just have never figured out, this has been my dilemma of where, most of the time, most of the people I hear, their problems when I go to networking events is either they don't have enough confidence, they can't make decisions, not enough cash, or not enough clients.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I've always kind of just gone with confidence, cash, and clients.
And that is probably right? That is probably correct. Trouble is, we have to start a conversation with these people online.
Right.
Right? Because that's not the first question. When you go to that networking event and you walk up to that huddle of ladies, what's the first thing you say?
What do you do?
Yeah, right? That's the opening question.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What do you do? Right? That's the opening question. So it's not, you don't go straight into, oh, what's your big problem? Have you got a cash problem? Have you got a client's problem? Right? You'd be a weirdo.
You're right.
Yeah, so why do that online? Why do it any differently online? And that's the beauty. That's the advantage. Unless, do you have a Frank Kern $50,000 a month style ad budget right now?
No.
No, neither do I, as a matter of fact. So, right? So we have to spend our dollars wisely as we build up to the $50,000 a month ad spend, right? And we do that by using targeting, because the way we get somebody's attention, because the attention, you're lucky in a networking environment, which is why face-to-face is so cool and why Monica's talks are so cool, right? Because you've got the attention, right? You've achieved that result already. You've walked up and say, oh, hi, ladies, what do you do?
Right.
Right? So you've got their attention. Online, though, we don't have their attention. And indeed, it's like there's 3,000 people all yelling and screaming at that one poor person saying, hey, do you need more clients? Hey, have you got a cash problem? Hey, you've got a confidence problem? Hey. Right? And so what do people do when a whole bunch of people are screaming at them? They shut down.
Them.
Yeah. right? So this is what, and so that was the underlying thing behind my thing. So the example I often use is actually a real estate example. And I said, so what's the huge market? And at the end of the day, weight loss, right? And so if I'm working for women who are trying to lose weight over 50, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I do an ad which is effectively says, hey, I've got a new method for women to lose weight under 50, I might get some response from that, maybe, right? But here's the thing. If I go, hey, are you a real estate, a female real estate agent over 50? I've got this unique method for real estate agents to lose weight. And you're a real estate agent. Which ad are you going to pick?
Well, obviously the second one.
Yeah, right. The second one. Now it's this crazy, but here's the thing. Online allows us to be far better than that. Hey, are you a woman over 50 who's working in real estate and wants to lose weight? And by the way, you love Lord of the Rings, right? Now this is getting ridiculous, but here's the thing.
I get your point.
If you were indeed hit that, there's no way you're not clicking that ad. And so what we want to do, if you have a look at the screen here, our goal online, because this is the way we create a really nice sustainable business, is ultimately our funnel, whatever it may be, rather than having one big source of traffic, which sounds nice because it's nice and easy and all of those, those sorts of things. What we want to have happen is we want to have, a dozen sources of traffic. Because here's the thing, how much does it cost to make a web page?
Well, for me, I do it myself, so not very
so
much.
So you're free. Well, it's your time, we know, but right. So it's effectively free, right?
Right.
So, well, actually, it does cost you, and that's another conversation for another day. Maybe you should.
Well, yeah, you're hosting right? and all of that stuff.
Right. Yes. So anyway, but point being, Nancy, right? So you create women entrepreneurs. So what are the different categories of women entrepreneurs? Just give me two.
Well, I guess that's where I'm stuck.
Okay, multi-level marketing, people involved in LM. Would that be one?
Yes, I've talked with them. Yep.
Great. People who are trying to be Instagram influencers.
Okay.
Do you see? And this is maybe where you need to spend a CFT or two, just getting your head around because there's thousands of different types of entrepreneurs.
I think you're right, because I'm used to working, in the corporate world for so long. I haven't done online stuff at all. I'm not into Facebook.
Yeah,
or anything.
What was their marketing budget in the last big corporate you worked in?
Oh, their marketing budget? Oh, I have no idea. I wasn't a part of the marketing budget.
Would it be millions?
Oh, absolutely millions, multi-millions.
Right. We don't have
500 companies.
Here's the thing. They can afford to spray a whole bunch of stuff against the wall. The vast majority of it splashes away and they still get their leads, right?
Right.
They can afford to do that because they're spending millions. We don't have that. We're starting off with $5 a day. So we need to get, and our advantage, we have a huge advantage over them. We can be super targeted because do the things that get the attention, yes, what is it? Cash, clients, and confidence?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Cash, clients, confidence. Is that an MLM thing? But yes. But how do MLM people talk about their clients as a compared to
their parties? They're usually parties.
Well, that's one type. Yes. Mm-hmm. What about ones that are trying to do it online or ones that are doing it one-on-one, right? And
I have no idea about those. Yeah, that's something I have to look into.
But this is the thing. There's, and there'll be some, and here's the thing. There'll be dozens of these markets. Of these dozens of markets, there'll be a couple of markets that you will have an affinity with, and that's where you should start. Like literally entrepreneurs who are after tree change.
What'd you say?
Tree change. Now that may be an Australian term.
I don't know what that is.
Also, sea change is another another way.
I don't
It
know
all
that.
means career change.
Oh, career change.
I'm working, you know, for the man in a big corporate. I've got my way, you know, up the ladder so far. I'm not going any further. I'm actually starting to hate what I do. I want to do something different. That's a huge market. Career shifters,
Well, actually, I would be good in that one.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Huge market, career shifting.
Okay. You guys have really strange names.
But here's the thing. No, they're strange names to people who are not on the inside. And here's the
Right.
problem. You're trying to barge in using your terminology, client, and the MLM. Well, you're not one of us. You're not using our language.
Right.
Go away. You obviously, whereas somebody who can help me is talking about my downline and talking about, you know, Instagram influencers, talking about my family, my tribe. They don't call them clients. See where I'm going with this?
Absolutely.
Good. So that's what you need. So first steps, what are your first steps?
I'm going to do some CFTs this week and
On?
see if I can, on market, looking for a more in-depth way to go. I just didn't really have an idea of how to do it. I've had so much conflicting information in the past.
Well,
I've gotten lost.
let me give you a roadmap.
I would love a roadmap.
Week 3 of the Fundamentals course, if you go to the Fundamentals channel on Slack. And
I've been going through all of them, yep.
Great. Well, the roadmap on markets will help you with exactly this. And we'll tell you.
Go back and do it again. Okay. I guess I really didn't have the mindset, I don't think, that you're giving me now to do it when I did back then. So I'll go back and redo it very happily.
Very, very, very good. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Nancy.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it.
Good on you. And thanks for following up on the Engage session. Sometimes I'll say to people, you know, look, this is an Engage session topic. So, you know, it's great when people sort of follow up on all of that. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Let's just double check here. Oh, Val's saying here, I'm not sure what to do next now. They have talked to me. You've got, that's the next part of the recipe, right? Is traffic. You need to go do the traffic session 5 from memory. That's your next step, Nance. Sorry, Val. That's your next step. And if you're having challenges with that, drop into the Slack group. And it's a big reminder, you know, the Slack group is really going off. I'm posting all of the events and different things that we're doing on the Slack group. People are getting help. Val, you yourself got an enormous amount of help from Slack group last week. Keep using it. It's your team, right? While we're working together, the power of a squad is one of the fundamental advantages of when you're starting out and you're being coached. Doesn't matter whether you're doing violin, sprinting, chess, anything. That power of a squad and training and helping each other is an enormous part of what we're trying to do. All right. There you go, folks. Thank you very much. I will speak to you all. We've got a recipe session, I want to say tomorrow at 8 o'clock, 4 p.m. Eastern. So I'll see you there. We'll be working on our next bunch of tickets, so I'm very excited about that. And see you in Slack. And for those of you who are doing the Zettelcasting challenge with me this week, I really thought that will be fantastic. All times, dates, links, registration stuff are of course, always in the news channel and the appropriate channel for that particular doohickey. So there you have it. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you later on.